What's up, guys? It's Brian636, and these are the 4 steps that I've chosen to make circle wheeling a little bit easier for you guys and hopefully effectively teach you how. Hello, boys and girls. Doing a little bit of a fun video today. It's one of the things that I like to do the most in stunt riding, and that is circle wheeling. Since it's a nice and warm, I think 30 degrees here, bike's got to warm up first, of course. The first, and what we're looking at right now, is your tire pressure. This has to do a lot with how easy or how hard it is to turn. Think of it as a really like inflated basketball compared to a really flat basketball, and if you rolled the two. The really inflated one can go left and right really easily, but the flatter one is going to want to stay in a straight line. It's kind of comparing it to, you know, you have this much tread on the ground compared to that much tread on the ground. It's going to want to just go straight in that line. When this, it'll be like you know, more of a teeter-totter type motion. So the big question here is PSI, you know, pounds per square inch, and what a lot of guys run in their tires. Some of the lot guys that, you know, just do strictly lot, they'll run 60 pounds of PSI in their tire, and that's good, but that's not a good PSI to be running on the street, because you're going to be all over, you know, as you go in the higher gears and whatnot. So what I do is I run a kind of in between. I run a 35 PSI in mine. I'm in between 35 and 40 PSI. It's enough that I can carve it into a straight line out of a circle, but at the same time it still dips and falls into the circle as you start to go into it. But it's enough that you can still keep a straight line wheelie. Because it would be a pain in the ass if, you know, every time you had to take air in or out of your tire to do a certain type of wheelie. So that's the first, and I think probably the most important part is your tire pressure. And if you try, you know, wheeling, like a lot of new guys will start to wheelie on like 10 PSI, because it is it's a larger balance point, because, you know, you're more flat, and it's easier to stay in a straight line because you have more, you know, contact to the ground. So if there's one thing I recommend here is try higher PSIs for circle wheeling. If that is what you came here to do, is circle wheelie, try higher PSIs. Steadily work your way up. Alright guys, she's all warmed up. I know my gauge is all broken, but it's like at 198 or something like that. But yeah, she's all warmed up. So it's a whopping, you know, 30 something degrees out. Gotta let your bike warm up. I'm gonna go into now that my bike's all warmed up, I'm gonna go into step 2 here, guys. And that is how far your front tire is off the ground. And I guess this is definitely something I should show you instead of just talk about. So we're going straight line right now, and the farther I go back, the more my bike wants to naturally turn. It just does. See, if I start to let it down, it's going to want to go straight just like that. But if I come back, it's going to want to naturally turn. Now, you're not going to be doing really tight circles or anything like that right away. So just get used to going around the lot just like this, you know. Even this is a pretty good diameter circle to begin learning. But my tire isn't crazy, but if I ever want to tighten my circles up, I'm going to definitely keep my front tire a lot higher. I'll go back a lot higher, just like that. And you can go pretty tight depending on how tall your tire is up there. But if I start letting my tire down, you see how the bike just naturally wants to go forward? That's that literally has to do with you just throwing that tire farther back. And that was a big mental psych for me, even though, you know, all the guys that were at the lot telling me how to circle were telling me, yo dude, straighten the tire up, straighten the tire up, straighten the tire up. And I guess it's just something that that it's a mental feat. It's just like learning how to wheelie again, I guess, except you're learning, you know, how to steer your wheelie, essentially, you know, drive it around the lot like a car, or like you're on 2 wheels. So yeah, I think that's a very important aspect of circle wheeling, is how far off the ground your front tire is. Almost a different kind of balance point. So The next thing, the third step of circle wheeling here is something that I think a lot of guys have already noticed, is your idle. What is a good speed to run your idle at, so you're not having the gas on the circle and it's smoother, but you're not having to apply too much rear brake. For 636 guys, I've always heard 3,500. For F4I guys, a little bit more. You know, maybe it's because they make a little less power or whatever. I run it right at 35. And by having your idle, you know, higher like that, it's going to make your circles a lot smoother, because you should essentially be able to take your hand off the throttle whenever you want. Sorry, still warming up here, but hey, you should be able to take your hand off the throttle just like that, and go for a while. And that just is essentially just a lot of brake control. You're not brake raping it or anything like that. You're just staying at balance point and letting that idle do all the work. So if you notice, I'm like not giving it any gas at all. It's just a little bit of brake work. If you want to watch my brake there, just a little bit. And yeah, like I said, you should be able to take off your hand and it shouldn't go dropping right down. Sorry I'm so sniffly, guys. I'm starting to feel a little bit sick. Probably because I'm riding in 30-degree weather, because I'm still trying to make these videos for you guys. But alright, and the fourth and a step that definitely I learned pretty quick, and the similarities between, is your cornering ability. And I'm not just talking about on one wheel, I'm talking about on two wheels. I started noticing a similarity really quick, that I felt a lot more comfortable turning left than I did right. And it just struck me. I was like, huh, when I used to track race, that was the same thing with when I learned how to drag knee. I learned how to drag knee on my left side way before I did on my right side. And I think that has to do with me being right-handed. Your throttle's on the right side. That's always kind of like your most fixed and like safe zone. So for me, turning left has always come a lot easier than it did turning right. My right-hand circles have never been anything pretty. They're just, I can't get them as tight, and I think it is because my throttle hand is my dominant hand. I always want to turn left. So I noticed that right away when I started thinking about cornering. If you're more comfortable turning left, you know, if you're a racer or whatever you are, a dirt biker, and you're more confident leaning that bike and drifting right or drifting left, then it's going to come easier to you to go that way on one wheel. It's not just on two wheels. So you guys have all been riding, I'm sure, for a while. If you're watching this video, you know what side you want to be going on. So that's just going to be your comfort level, essentially, and that's not going to have. You're going to just have to practice going both ways. Because I remember it took me another month to drag right knee, and it did left knee, and it took me about 2-3 months of left hand circles before I got into right. And even to this day, right hand circles are definitely not my favorite thing to do. Just because my throttle hand is more sensitive. I can do the right hands, but I would definitely suggest learning circles on your dominant side, you know. So guys, that is about it. This is going to take a lot of practice. This is going to take you practicing a whole different skill set of the wheelie, which, you know, is turning it and pretty much essentially riding your bike around everywhere, like it's on two wheels, except you're on one wheel. please please let me know what you guys thought of the video. I know this is a lot more of an advanced wheelie video than most of my stuff. So, but I had enough people ask me about it that I felt the video was needed. So, I know there's a lot better guys at circles than me, but hopefully by me talking you through the 4 steps of, what were they? Tire pressure, your idle, your cornering ability, and the height of your front tire, your balance point, essentially. Those 4 steps helped you guys kind of tackle it in little bits instead of just, I'm going out the circle, you know. And just some other things to really think about when you're doing it is, yeah, throttle and brake control. Your throttle, you should definitely not be on your throttle a fuck ton in a circle. It's not something that's going to work out. So, unless you're actually starting to carve your circles, which is a little bit more advanced thing. But all right, guys. I hope you guys have as much fun learning this video as I do. Get ready to drop your bikes. I'm not kidding when I say that. You're gonna drop your bike learning circles. I promise you. So, I hope you get comfortable dropping your bike, stalling your bike, or whatever, because that's just part of the game. And as you keep going, you're gonna keep throwing different combinations of circles at your bike, and you're gonna keep dropping it. So, there's nothing to be embarrassed about dropping your bike in a circle wheelie. It's something that's already so little people can do. Man, I'm getting dizzy talking to you guys. And most importantly, don't learn moto vlogging as you learn circle wheelies, because you're gonna just screw yourself up. It's terrible talking through it. All right, I'm gonna shut my mouth. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please subscribe, share the video. Hope it's warmer where you're at, and I hope everyone is safe, has a cage on their bike. Everyone go get a Cox cage and protect that bike. This is Brian636 telling you guys, drink a warm glass of cocoa and go burn some tires and have some fun. Bye, guys.